Have you ever woken up and immediately felt heavy? Like before my feet even touched the floor, my mind was already racing with worries, problems, and everything that could go wrong that day. Some mornings I woke up thinking about money, other mornings about deadlines, other times about words from yesterday that still hurt more than I wanted to admit. And before the day even started, I already felt defeated. If that sounds familiar, if your mornings feel like stepping onto a battlefield instead of receiving a gift, then this is my story. Because I was once a man who woke up angry at the world every single day. Until one simple practice, just 5 minutes every morning, changed everything. Not just my mornings, my entire life. Stay with me until the end. My name is Law. I live in a crowded city where buildings stretch upward like they're competing with the sky, and people rush through life without ever really looking at it. On the surface, my life looked fine. I had a stable job, a small but comfortable apartment, enough money to survive. Nothing extraordinary, but nothing terrible either. On paper, I had no reason to complain, but every single morning, I woke up miserable. The moment my alarm rang, my first thought wasn't gratitude. It was dread. Another day, more work, more pressure, more of the same life I didn't feel excited about. I would lie in bed scrolling on my phone, filling my head with bad news, arguments online, and images of other people living lives that looked happier than mine. Vacations, promotions, smiles that felt fake but still made me feel smaller. By the time I finally stood up, my mood was already ruined. I barely tasted my breakfast. My mind was already somewhere else, replaying problems that hadn't happened yet, and frustrations from yesterday that refused to leave. I carried that heaviness with me everywhere. Someone close to me noticed. One morning, quietly, they asked me, "When was the last time you actually enjoyed waking up?" I stared at my cup, searching my memory. Nothing came. "I don't know," I said. "Maybe when I was a kid?" They looked at me and said something I wasn't ready to hear. "You're alive. You're healthy. And yet you wake up like life is a burden instead of a gift." The words hurt because they were true, but I didn't know how to change. Negativity felt automatic, like breathing. I kept telling myself, I'll be happy when things improve, when life gets easier. But easier never came. The weight followed me into my sleep. My relationships suffered. Even good news couldn't reach me anymore. I had become someone who found problems in every solution, complaints in every moment. One night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, asking myself a question I'd been avoiding for years. When did I become this person? The next morning, I woke up before sunrise. My mind wouldn't rest. Instead of staying in bed, I went outside. The city was quiet. The air was cool. For once, nothing was demanding my attention. In a small park, I noticed an elderly man sitting on a bench, feeding birds. He looked completely at peace, like time moved differently around him. And what struck me most was this. He was smiling, not at anything specific, just smiling. Without really thinking, I sat down nearby. We watched the birds in silence. Then I asked him something that came from deep inside me. "How are you so calm?" He chuckled softly. "You think calmness is something you find," he said. "It's something you practice." That word stayed with me. Practice. He asked me what my first thought was when I woke up that morning. I answered honestly, "Another day to survive." He nodded gently. "You've been training your mind to look for problems," he said. "And now you're very good at it." Those words hit me hard. I asked him if it was possible to unlearn that habit. He smiled and said, "Yes, it starts with 5 minutes." He showed me a small notebook. For years, every morning before anything else, he wrote down 3 specific things he was grateful for. Not big ideas, small, real moments. Sunlight on his face, the smell of coffee, a child waving at him. "The small things," he said, "are the life you're actually living." He explained that my attention was like a garden. Whatever I planted first thing in the morning would grow throughout the day. Before I left, he handed me a blank notebook. 30 days, he said. Just try. The next morning, I reached for my phone and stopped. I opened the notebook instead. It felt awkward, forced, but I wrote 3 things anyway. Day by day, something slowly changed. I started noticing light, sounds, small kindnesses, moments I would have ignored before. I wasn't happier overnight, but I was lighter. Weeks passed. One morning, I realized something shocking. I woke up and didn't feel heavy. Nothing in my life had magically improved. But I had. 30 days later, I returned to the park. I thanked the old man, and he told me something I'll never forget. "This isn't a challenge," he said. "It's a way of living." Months have passed since then. I still have problems. I still have bad days. But they no longer control me. And now I'm telling you this because my story might be yours too. You may not control what happens in your life, but you do control where your attention goes. Tonight, before you sleep, place a notebook beside your bed. Tomorrow morning, before your feet touch the floor, write 3 small things you're grateful for. Just 5 minutes. It won't change your life because life becomes easier. It will change your life because you learn how to see what was already there. I'm Law, and this is what changed me.